The forest breathes before you see it. A low, ancient breath rising from the ground itself, warm and wet, carrying the scent of soil that has never been turned by machines. Moisture hangs in the air like memory. Light struggles to exist here. It fractures, scatters, dissolves into green shadows before it ever reaches the forest floor. This is the Congo Basin, not a place on a map, but a living mass, a green abyss, a world that does not open itself easily to human eyes. You step forward, and the forest closes behind you. Sound arrives first, insects clicking like distant static, birds calling in patterns too complex to follow. Somewhere deeper, something large moves, branches bend, leaves tremble, then stillness returns. Silence here is never empty. It is layered, dense, alive. The Congo Basin does not reveal itself all at once. It surrounds, it absorbs, it waits. This is the second largest rainforest on Earth, but numbers fail here. Size means nothing when direction disappears, when every step forward looks identical to the last, when rivers wider than cities appear without warning, brown and slow, carrying centuries of erosion from lands no one has ever named. The Congo Basin is not wilderness in the romantic sense. It is not inviting. It is not forgiving. It is indifferent. The ground beneath your feet is older than most mountains. Beneath the roots, beneath the fungi, beneath the layers of decay, lies a geological memory reaching back billions of years. This land once formed the heart of an ancient supercontinent. While oceans opened and mountains rose and fell elsewhere, this region endured. It weathered extinction after extinction. It stayed wet, it stayed warm, it stayed alive. That continuity created something rare in Earth's history, a biological vault. Trees rise not as individuals, but as a collective architecture. Some stretch over 60 meters tall, their crowns interlocking to form a ceiling that turns daylight into suggestion. Their trunks are buttressed like cathedral walls, roots flaring outward to anchor themselves in shallow, nutrient-poor soil. In this paradox, life thrives, not because the soil is rich, but because nothing is wasted. Every fallen leaf is consumed. Every dead thing is recycled. Decay is not an ending here. It is the engine. Water defines everything. Rain falls without warning, without mercy. It drums on leaves the size of sails, funnels down bark, floods the understory. Within minutes, rivers pulse and retreat, rewriting the forest's edges daily. Some never truly dry. Others vanish into swamps that swallow sound and movement. The Congo River system snakes through the basin like a circulatory system, carrying life, sediment, and silence across thousands of kilometers. From above, the forest appears endless. From within, it feels infinite. Then there are the shadows that move. A forest elephant emerges briefly between trees, smaller than its savanna cousins, darker, quieter. It moves like a ghost, tusks curved downward, eyes alert. Every step reshapes the forest, seeds spread, paths opened, clearings born. Without these elephants, the forest would slowly suffocate under its own density. Destruction here is creation, violence is balance. Deeper still, where light rarely touches ground, gorillas watch from cover. Their presence is felt before it is seen, a tension in the air, a silence among birds. They sit heavy and calm, knuckles pressed into soil, eyes ancient and measuring. Their DNA mirrors our own in unsettling ways. In their faces there is recognition and refusal. They belong here, we do not. Above, in the upper canopy, life accelerates. Monkeys leap impossible distances, never touching the ground. Birds erupt in color, electric blues, violent reds, visible only for seconds before vanishing back into leaves. Every vertical layer of this forest hosts a different universe. To live here is to choose a height, a rhythm, a strategy. Night transforms everything. Darkness in the Congo Basin is absolute. Moonlight barely penetrates the canopy. The forest becomes sound-driven movement without form. Frogs scream, insects vibrate, predators begin to move, eyes reflect briefly, then disappear. The air cools just enough to fog breath. You feel watched, not by one thing, but by the forest itself. Time behaves differently here. Days blur, seasons are subtle, defined by rain intensity rather than temperature. The forest does not mark time by calendars, but by fruiting cycles, migrations, floods. Some trees flower only once every several years, synchronized across vast distances for reasons science still struggles to explain. This synchronization is survival. In a place where competition is relentless, coordination becomes power. The Congo Basin holds more species per square kilometer than almost anywhere on Earth, yet many remain unnamed. New insects are discovered routinely. Mammals vanish before they are studied. Entire food webs exist beyond human understanding. The forest is not fully mapped. Some regions have never been walked. Even satellites struggle to interpret what grows beneath the canopy. Human presence here is ancient but light. Indigenous forest peoples have moved through this landscape for tens of thousands of years without breaking it. They hunt without erasing. They travel without clearing. Their knowledge is spatial, seasonal, intimate. They read the forest the way others read books, tracks in mud, shifts in bird calls, the smell of rain before it falls. The forest responds to them differently, but even this deep system is fragile in ways that feel impossible. Remove one keystone species and the balance tilts. Open a single permanent road, and the forest begins to unravel outward from it. Dry the climate by a few degrees and rainfall patterns fracture. The paradox of the Congo Basin is that something so vast, so powerful, can be undone quietly. Climate here is both stabilizer and hostage. The forest generates its own rain through transpiration, exhaling moisture into the sky that returns as storms. This recycling cools the planet, locks away carbon, regulates weather far beyond Africa. Storms in distant lands are influenced by what happens beneath these leaves. The Congo Basin is not remote, it is central, yet it feels unreachable. There are places where the forest opens into swamp, blackwater channels choked with floating plants, trees standing knee-deep year-round. Here, movement slows, sound dampens, crocodiles lie motionless, eyes just above water. Fish navigate submerged forests feeding on fruit that falls directly into rivers. The boundary between land and water dissolves completely. Elsewhere, the forest rises into ancient plateaus where rock breaks through green in sudden cliffs and outcrops. These stones predate the forest itself. Lichens cling to them like living fossils. From their edges, the canopy stretches unbroken to the horizon, a green ocean with no visible shore. Fire is almost absent here. Too wet, too dense. Unlike other ecosystems, the Congo Basin did not evolve with flames. When fire enters, it is an intruder, a foreign language. Recovery is slow. Scars remain visible for decades. The forest remembers damage. Memory is everywhere. In the rings of trees that grew through centuries of change, in genetic lineages that survived asteroid impacts, ice ages, mass extinctions, this forest is not young wilderness, it is ancient persistence. And still it moves. Vines tighten and loosen with the sun. Termite mounds rise like sculpted towers, regulating temperature with architectural precision. Ants march in living bridges. Fungi glow faintly in the dark, converting death into energy. Nothing here is still for long. The deeper you go, the harder it becomes to believe this exists in the modern world. No skylines, no engines, no edges, just systems layered upon systems operating without instruction, a planet running itself. You begin to understand why the Congo Basin has resisted conquest, control, comprehension. It is too complex to dominate, too interconnected to isolate. Every attempt to simplify it fails. Even language struggles. Words like jungle collapse under the weight of reality. This is not chaos, it is order at a scale we cannot easily perceive. At dawn, mist rises from the forest floor in slow sheets, catching early light. For a brief moment, everything glows, leaves outlined in gold, spiderwebs strung between branches, breath visible in cool air. Then the sun climbs and the forest seals itself again. From above, clouds gather, drawn upward by heat and moisture. Rain forms, falls, feeds the roots, the rivers, the life below. The cycle closes. It always has. The Congo Basin does not ask to be saved, explored, or understood. It does not care if it is filmed or forgotten. It existed before us, and it will choose whether it exists after. Standing at its edge, you feel small in a way that is not humbling, but clarifying. This forest is not scenery. It is a force, quiet, patient, and watching. And as you step back, leaving no trace behind, the leaves close, the sounds resume, and the green abyss continues, breathing, waiting, enduring.